Hi there, my name is Sky and I'd love to be your new favorite art teacher. We are fast approaching the holiday season, so in this week's tutorial, we're going to decorate a celestial-inspired Christmas tree. Thanks for being here. Let's jump in. Hello again, beautiful artists, or welcome if it's your first time here. I'm going to take us through a really fun and festive Christmas painting today. Is it too early to put up our Christmas trees? I think not, at least not artistically. So let's go ahead and jump on into things, but first I'm going to show you the materials that I'm going to use for today's painting. So I like to use generally these 3 brush sizes in most of my paintings. These are just really simple. They don't need to be the exact same size and shape as the brushes that you use or the same brand, but they should be the same general size and shape. This is a square wash brush. It's about 3/4 of an inch. And then I have 2 detail brushes. This is a size 8 and this is a size 4. These are just the ones that I'm comfortable with. I'm going to put those in my water cup off the side of the screen. And then I'm using a canvas board today vertically. It's the important part. And then I have 3 colors here on my piece of palette paper just for the background step. I just really simply have a bit of black, some cobalt blue, and a bit of white. To see a full materials list of everything that you need to paint along with me, check the description box below. It'll show you the colors for today's tutorial, but it will also have a link to my materials page on my website, which is skypratt.com, SKYEPRATT.com. You can click on the materials page and it'll break it down for you, everything that you need to paint along. I post these free full-length acrylic painting tutorials here on YouTube twice a month on the 2nd and 4th Saturdays. So make sure to hit subscribe so you can join us and paint along every time. And if you hit the bell icon, you'll be notified when I post a new video. Otherwise, you might miss out. So make sure to do that. All right, let's get started with our background step. Really simple today. I'm going to grab my large wash brush with a little bit of water on it. And really you could build from the inside out or the outside in, but what we want to do is create a bit of a gradation. So gradation means we're taking one color and sort of walking our way to blend into another color. So in this case, we're going to start with a light blue in the middle, and we're going to gradate out towards the outer edges with a little bit of a darker blue. That's just going to give us sort of this glowing look as if our Christmas tree was illuminating this area, this space. So lightest in the middle, and it also kind of provides a nice little frame around our subject, which will of course be our tree. And I like to move my brush really quickly so that I get a lot of good variation within the brush stroke. So we're not going for one solid opaque color. Well, you could if that was what you wanted, but like I said, I want to have a little bit of that kind of warm glow. So I'm going to go a little bit further out than I need, because then I'm going to come in with a darker color and blend into that a little bit. And I want to do like a steely blue. One of my favorite colors is a nice navy blue, so that'll be a little bit of blue toned down a bit with black. Or I guess technically with black and white. When you add gray to something, that's where that phrase toning things down actually comes from, although we kind of use it for just kind of like, you know, tone it down, man, like bringing it down a notch. But in technical terms, it means adding gray. So I will try to be precise. Since I do have a course on color theory where I talk about tints, tones, and shades, also go over the color wheel and how to blend colors, which you will learn by doing with the free classes too, but that's a nice little extra tidbit of foundational knowledge if you need it. And that is available on my membership program along with some other perks. Shout out to my members, appreciate you. You can click join on any video to find out more. Okay, and I'm working on the membership program, everyone. That's a member. I appreciate you, and I promise more is coming. In fact, a Christmas special might be coming around the corner. There's a lot of great ornament painting specials for members too. And we're gonna do another one of those this year. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. You can kind of work back and forth. It's kind of a play with acrylic painting. I wanted to, so the star that's going to go on top of my Christmas tree, originally I did it like pretty white in the center, which I liked the glow, but then I didn't get enough contrast between the white background and the yellow. So I'm making it a little bit probably darker this time as an experiment. And I want to make sure that I have a little bit of darkness like right behind where I think I am going to put that. But as you can see, that was very subtle, just a tiny bit more saturation of blue, tiny bit of black, still have a little bit of white here in my little mixture. Okay, but no such thing as perfection. When it looks good, it's good enough. Go ahead and step away and let this first layer dry completely, and we're gonna come back and add our star of the show today, which will be our Christmas tree. Okay, I'll see everyone in a couple minutes. Okay, welcome back, artists. We have a dry background now, and I put 2 more colors on my piece of palette paper. I put some cadmium yellow and a little bit of phthalo green. This painting today is going to be done in 3 parts. So we did our background step. Now we're going to put our tree, which is like our mid layer. And then we're going to let that layer dry too. We're going to be very patient. And then we're going to come back to decorate our tree just like you would. First, we got to select our Christmas tree, right? And then we're going to decorate it. All right, so let's get into building our tree. I'm going to use pretty much the whole time my big brush for this. And I'm going to mix up, of course, green color for our tree. Probably use all of my phthalo green. I'm going to use a fair amount of yellow and a fair amount of blue also, and mix up a delicious forest green color. And that looks just about right to me. Maybe a tiny pinch of black too, mixed in a little bit. Okay, that looks good. And now, okay, so with your square brush, there's 2 ways that you can use this. Obviously, you can use it square like this, or you can use it to make skinnier lines on its side, right? So I'm gonna go right from the center and very delicately, using the side of the brush and that green that I just mixed up, I'm going to do a straight line. I'm going to push it up a little bit so that it kind of tapers to a point at the top. And then this is just kind of our guide. Now we're going to use the brush almost kind of like a spongy tool on either side. We're going to start with a little tapped in triangle at the top, and then we're going to use the skinny part of our brush to sort of tap in these little scruffy layers. And then you're going diagonal, so you're not going straight across like this, but you're not going too far up and down either. Diagonal from that center line. We want to have sort of like little gathered bunches of this greenery. Okay, so there's a little bit of visibility in between the layers, but overall it's that triangle shape. So we're kind of working our way out with each layer. And I kind of like to add more and then come back and perfect it more than it's just going to be like perfect all the way down. That just kind of helps my eye see about where I need to go with things. It's kind of going to be a balance between it being thick versus having a little bit of see-through in between your layers. You don't want a scraggly tree, but you don't want it to be completely solid. Probably see maybe 20 to 30% space still. Empty space is important too. A lot of good brush control. We've not done trees like this before, so it's a little bit more leaning towards realistic looking, which I think is fun, but still really simple. And now that you know how to create these kinds of trees, you can build all kinds of your own forests. Put these in all kinds of paintings. Sometimes you can get a little too kind of close to the project, literally, so stepping back can help when you're building things like this and you want the whole shape to be triangular. And then of course the biggest part of the tree is at the very bottom, which is going to go completely off the page. Great. Okay, and now let's just, before we let our tree dry so that we can decorate it, I'm going to take a little bit of a darker green in some places. Oops, that was too dark. And just tap in a little bit of shadow into some of the layers. Got a little bit too much black on the bottom. Looks a bit better. Take your time. This is the star of the show today, so gonna take our time building our tree, and then we're gonna take our time decorating our tree just like we would decorating a real tree. So cute, okay? And similar to the shadow, I'm gonna add some highlights too. Let's take a little bit of yellow, a little bit of white. Should be able to get a quick little bit of lighter green. I'm just going to kind of tap that in, very subtle, in some places that need it. A little bit here, a little bit there. Not an exact science. Just to sort of make things interesting. Always more interesting to add different colors. Okay, I like it. Every tea is going to be different, and that's part of the fun. Let's let this mid-layer dry now, and we'll come back and get things decorated. The most fun, in my opinion, although that was a fun step too. Give yourselves a pat on the back if you're done with your tree, and let's take another quick break, and I'll see everyone in another couple minutes. Okay, welcome back, artists. We have a dry Christmas tree now, and it's time for the best part, which is to add our decorations. I have some black and white on my palette paper, as well as some cadmium yellow, cadmium orange, and a bit more of my cobalt blue. I'm going to use my small brush. You could use your medium brush if you wanted to speed things up a bit, but I think I'm gonna choose a little bit more control with my smaller brush. And we're going to jump right back on into things and start decorating. Let's start with white, and I'm going to block out the areas that I'm going to fill in with yellow in just a moment. My vision here was sort of like the celestial, like interior design vibes from the 90s, which I've always really loved, which are mostly blue and yellow. And the shapes are, of course, sun and moon and stars, but I think I'm gonna skip the sun. Maybe the top part, the top part's gonna be a star. I think it's mostly just going to be moons and stars rather than moon, stars, and suns. But you could get creative. You can add any sort of decorations that you'd like, again, just like it was your own Christmas tree. So the designs that I'm going to do in yellow, I'm going to block out in white right now. And the easiest way that I know to create a star is like how you would do in school. So you just do that light little sketch. It's like boop, 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 boop. Technical terms there. People do that different ways, but just a quick little sketchy star, and then you can come in with your white paint and block things out a little bit better. They look cute if they're a little bit wonky, so don't worry about it being perfect. I think that adds to it. So quick little star sketch, and then refining things a little bit with white. Try not to get too enormous in size because I want it to, again, look like a real Christmas tree. Be proportionate to the tree size, but that's up to you. Okay, looks cute. I'm just going to do a couple of these sort of classic big stars. This is where you can get creative. I mean, it's all getting creative, but I encourage you to really just decorate your tree with whatever shapes you think are fun. And these are just a few suggestions, really. And I'm going to do sort of like the starburst style star that I'm going to do on the top of my Christmas tree too, which is where you start with like a plus sign, and then you add these little cross hatches. Or you can also have the simplest version, which is just like a quick little X. So I think that makes it look, it could also kind of look a little bit snowy. Are they stars? Are they snowflakes? It both would work. I wanted to do that as just like a plus sign one, but it got a little too big, so maybe I'll do one more right here, really tiny. I'm using just the tiniest bit of pressure on my brush. Looks pretty good. Maybe one more right here of the medium size. Cute. Okay, and then top part of the tree too. And really it could be either star shape, the little sketchy star, or this like plus sign star, sort of like a starburst is what I like to refer to it as. And that's the one that I'm going to choose for my tree topper, but whatever you like. Okay, and then for the blue, we don't need to block that out in white. We'll just start with a nice medium blue. And in my imagination, I'm adding crescent moons and circular shaped ornaments, maybe planets, Neptune's blue planet. but I'm going to block out sort of the first areas where I want to add the crescent moon, and it's fun to alternate the directions. Let's do one up top too. Nice, and then these round ornaments. Sort of like moons or planets. Could be the full moon also. And maybe we have a couple that are hanging off the side of the tree as they would. Okay, that's looking pretty cute. It's definitely got some Christmas tree vibes as we get more and more decorated. And then I want to add small yellow ornaments too. And I'm also going to block those out with white. And that'll be, ooh, got a little drip. That'll be the smallest of the decorations on the tree. So we can kind of fill things out a bit more here and there with the smallest shape. Okay. Couple more. Cute. Okay. I want to now come back into, actually let's do, first things first. Sorry, getting ahead of myself. I really want to add, like Saturn rings around my planet shapes, but before we add that, let's do a quick shadow to make them look round. So this is my blue round shape, and I'm just going to come in with a quick outline and add a touch of shadow to make things look circular. And we'll do the same thing, only with a light blue inside the balls first with a highlight. Okay, and then I'm gonna take a very light blue and I'm going to make these planets. And so you'll start on one side and kind of swoop your way across the front. So it comes from behind and then into the front and then around the other side. Make sure that we can see the bottom of this planet down there. This is optional. Again, you don't have to decorate your tree just like my tree. But I think it adds to the planetary vibe. I'm going to do a quick highlight in my moons too. Very nice. And I can use that same dark color if I need to. Kind of refine the moon shapes and outline them. Oh, I forgot a set of rings down here. Let's add that real quick. And on the very bottom. Great. Okay. And now to move on to our warm colors, to our yellow. I'm going to mix up my yellow with a little bit of white. And I'm going to come in back to those areas that I filled out with white before and top them with yellow. We'll get a more vibrant yellow than if we had just come in with yellow on its own. If it starts picking up too much of the white, you might need to give it another second to dry. And I'm just going to work my way from the top down. And it's okay if you see a little bit of white still, because we're going to add a little bit of white as a highlight anyway. But it's nice to have it nice and opaque too, because you might need a second layer. The white might be a little see-through still too. Let me know in the comments when you put your tree up, or if you even do. Okay. All right, a little bit of a darker yellow. We'll add our shadows. And I want to make sort of like a taupe, which is sort of a hard color to make. It's like a yellow orange with a tiny, tiny pinch of black. But not so much black that you get really gray. It's hard. I know, it doesn't have to be perfect. But just a quick little shadow on the outsides of the big stars, and then on one side of your round circles. You might not need it really in the smaller stars, but you can add it too if you like. Quickly kind of going around the edge of everything. And for these videos, I try to keep things static in one place, but feel free to move your canvas around when you're getting to the top of your tree. I'm going to sort of balance my hand on here and do a quick shadow. It's sort of an outline, but not perfect. And that's, I think, a deliberate style choice, because you could perfectly outline it too, but I like to do just like a quick pass. It makes things a little more painterly. And then let's do our final pass of white. So I'm going to take a little bit of my white and put it in the top part of my star. I might need to clean that star up a little bit later. And a quick highlight in some of our yellow shapes. Just a little touch of color in each section. Cute. And then I'm going to flip my brush around. And as my final little last step, I'm going to add some white lights. It's like we're turning our Christmas tree on now. And as everyone knows, the first step is to put the lights, then you put the ornaments, but we're reversing it, but we're pretending like we had these lights on, and now we're flipping the switch. Okay. However you like. I just find that using the back of my brush is a really quick way to create nice circles. Okay, there we go. think it would be fun to add just a few little last brush strokes. I'm gonna grab my big brush again. If you painted along with me today, I want to invite you to share your art with me over in my Art Share Facebook group. It's called the Art Club, and you can join for free and share your work with me and the other students. I love to see everyone's paintings. Best part of my day. Oh, I'm trying not to get any blue on my brush because what I want is a very light kind of whitey yellow. I'm going to do just a few little brush strokes of yellow, kind of framing things, working their way out like a little soft glow from our Christmas tree. Okay, if you went a little too heavy-handed anywhere, you can always take a damp brush, pull a little bit of that color up if you want. Okay. There we go. All right. I'd love to know what you thought of today's painting in the comments section below. I hope everyone has a very merry start to the Christmas season. It's one of my favorite times of the year. Again, please join me over in the art club so I can see your beautiful masterpieces. And that is all the instruction that I have for us this week. So thanks again for painting along, and until next time, stay creative.